And looks like we're starting. We're seeing a lot of the usual jumping. We're seeing pretty fast jumping.
Alright, yeah, Noxitu missed or something. He's a little bit behind, but that's fine. Because we both go by endgame time, so that's affordable. Yeah, getting those little quick bunny hops in to save the frames.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold up. I'm having a problem here. Hold up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if buhbai his freezing was like him alt-tabbing or what, but I think he actually just froze for a little bit there, but we're fine now.
I think it was trying to synchronize the streams because of the delay.
Yeah, audio was desynced for a little bit, but we're good now.
Yeah. I don't... Looks like, so far, the two are going pretty well through Forsaken City, getting all the tricks that they're going for. Getting all the good hypers and all the good waves extended, whatever trick you want to name. They seem to be nailing it.
Yeah, generally people's city strats are going to be pretty well practiced. This is the first chapter that most people learn, because it is the first chapter and also it's basically the shortest.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It can get complicated depending on what you go for, but generally it's always going to be pretty well practiced if you do difficult stuff.
Yeah.
buhbai, I don't think he messed up really any. That's a 103. That's pretty good.
Incredibly good, yeah. And Noxitu going for a bit more simpler strats, but nailing them really. Ooh, that's a kind of scary final screen there.
Yeah, can suck to fall down there. It's a little bit slow.
But finishing up the level as buhbai is entering Old Site, needs to go activate the dream blocks to progress in the level.
Oh, I don't know if he... I feel like he meant to go for it. He may have just misinputted his dash direction.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see if Noxitu goes for it. You can kind of enter the cutscene weirdly, because the way that cutscene works is you're supposed to be at a certain place when a cutscene ends, like if a character moves during a cutscene. So, however, if you skip a cutscene, it won't replace your height. So you can use that to kind of have cutscenes place you in weird positions, which can sometimes be useful. Noxitu just going on the ground here.
Yeah, so basically, like, it'll move you to the center of the screen, like, in terms of X position, but your Y position will stay the same. So you'll still stay near the ceiling if you start near the ceiling. And you can do that to start it inside of the dream block.
And buhbai already out of the battling section here as Noxitu's just entering it ridiculously fast. But battling basically just follows your exact inputs 3 seconds behind yourself. So you just have to be careful. And the game uses that to its advantage, I guess you could call it, when it kind of makes you go back and forth on some screens, especially in the latter half. Oh my god, Noxitu almost had a really cool save, but unfortunately, I don't know, maybe panicked. That is a really scary situation. And buhbai is moving on to Celestial Resort. Alright, so, Dust Bunnies. A lot of speed games have these, but this game, one of the major things in this game that can make it fairly challenging are cycles, where things will move basically in the same pattern starting at a certain point. In Celeste, cycles start when you enter a screen, or when you die, in which case the cycles are actually a bit different than when you enter the screen. So you have to be careful of that when it comes to the dust bunnies. Because if you die, they might be in a pattern you won't know how to deal with when you respawn.
And yeah, death cycles are a huge factor here because generally the gimmick of these dust bunnies being difficult to get around is that they're all moving around on cycles, like in circles and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So they're moving in circles or like back and forth repeatedly. I feel like the circle ones are like way more painful. I don't know why. But we're gonna see Noxitu entering the chapter as buhbai makes it over here to the huge mess, which is a pretty kind of, I guess it's a section a lot of people like. Maybe mainly because of the soundtrack. Is I've noticed a favorite of speed gaming chats, which you're about to hear now. But this section is 3 branching paths, and you need to get to the end of all 3 to get access to the key that leads to the next section.
Trying to wave dash off of that little block in the center there, barely missing it, but still getting through fine.
And getting the spike jump as well, which is very good. Now,
I'm loving buhbai's
this is
ultras.
just crazy.
Yeah.
Noxitu also making good progress. This is just a really good race from both sides so far.
Oh, that sucks. He was trying to... He would have made it over that. He was trying to go for a wall bounce, but he was too far from the wall and he didn't get the wall jump. So that's why he didn't go as high up as he thought he would, and he ended up landing on that dust bunny.
Yeah.
Getting back to the start of the room. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, there are very few screens in this game that actually have like checkpoints in the middle of the rooms. And that's not even including one section where the checkpoints in the middle of the rooms is kind of like the mechanic of the stage. But even without that, there's a few screens where there's a checkpoint in the middle of it, but usually screens like this that don't even scroll, there won't be. And buhbai is going to be leaving the huge mess now, having hit all 3 buttons. And Noxitu's entering the huge mess at the same time.
More ultras there. I may as well explain it since he's making so much use of it. What buhbai is doing that's allowing him to gain so much speed going through a lot of these rooms. Miss that coin again, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine that time.
There we go.
But a lot of the time when he's just flying through a screen and he's dashing down and to the left or down and to the right, he's through ultras, and essentially what it is that while dashes themselves have a speed cap, for whatever reason diagonal dashes do not like work the same way. So like you can chain momentum that you've already gathered together and then like bunny hop and do a downright dash and just chain the momentum with your other like what you already have. And so the downright dashes just keep stacking your speed and allowing you to fly through screens. There's
Yeah,
a
that
bunch of
allows
screens-
things like, if you've ever seen the tool-assisted speedrun, how in the ending section of Chapter 2 it like never lost speed once. That's basically what it was doing to try and keep its speed and increase it. And now we have a Shiro, which is right here at the end of the first chapter. Or did I say the first? The 3rd chapter, my bad. Basically, he's going to be charging at you horizontally across the screen by tracking where your height is. And charging. You can tell where the charge is going to be because of the lightning bolt. So you will have ample time to figure out where to not be before he attacks. However, the game kind of makes good use of this because between the dust bunnies and all the trampolines, the game kind of makes you move a lot in vertical positions, so it can kind of be hard to track where he is, and sometimes you'll accidentally bump into him when you're not trying to. But buhbai makes it through. As Noxitu is hitting the final button of the huge mess section, is going to be going on to the second half of the chapter, basically. Golden Ridge. I don't know what you think about Golden Ridge, but I think this is one of the craziest chapters to watch someone like buhbai do, who just goes for all of these insanely crazy strats.
Yeah, he has some really cool stuff here. So this is more showcase of the ultras. And he does a corner boost too, to keep his speed from it. Oh,
Yeah.
The main hard part of ultras is being able to keep the speed that you're gathering over an extended amount of time. Like, obviously, just dashing down right itself isn't the hard part. It's just, like, finding ways that you can do it and still, like, know what you're doing and keep your speed going and stuff like that.
I mean, if you're playing on analog, it can be hard to accurately dash down right, but hey,
Yeah.
that's just me. I still play on it, so it's obviously my fault.
It's gonna be another spike jump here. Easy.
Yeah.
First try.
I actually hear a lot of people say the one in this chapter is harder than the one in chapter 3, but I actually think it's kind of the opposite. Whatever. Noxitu making it to just a few screens now before the Ashiro section. Doing
I
very
love that.
well in this chapter 3.
I love that auto scroller skip strat from buhbai.
Yeah,
Doing a
it is-
wave dash off of the block itself, and then ultraing, and then bunny hopping to the end.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy, and I love it.
Oh,
Skipping a
he
bubble.
almost made it all the way to that bubble.
That is a really tricky thing to do, but
Oh, he's stuck here. That's really bad. Yeah. He ran out
I
of
think was-
stamina at the last second.
I think was trying to get to that bubble, but didn't quite make it. Finally makes it over here. As Noxitu is going to be entering... Wow, what a crazy entrance into the Ashiro room, geez. But now is going to be doing the... I guess you could call it a fight. I don't know a better word for it. Now buhbai gets to have some fun. Noxitu bonking Ashiro on the head here. When you do that, you get your dash and your stamina back, so if you can kind of bait him when you're in a bad position, that can actually be useful. You don't see it too often intentionally, though, but sometimes accidents happen and it looks cool. And now the buhbai... Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
This is the cliff face section, and this is where the wind is much stronger. And the snowball projectiles are also added to it, so they're sort of like... in this game, like the Ushiro and Bubbles.
And the bubble
The
too.
snowballs coming back. Yeah.
So did the dream blocks from chapter 2.
The game likes it when you go fast.
It really does. And as Noxitu finishes up Resort, we're going to see buhbai leaving Ridge. Doing very good so far, entering Mirror Temple for buhbai, which is probably one of my favorite chapters. I'd say it's probably the chapter which you should probably learn as much of it as you can immediately. As compared to the other chapters where there's a lot of stuff you can kind of do safely, this is one of the chapters where there's a lot of stuff that's just probably best if you get learning it out of the way immediately. Obviously, some stuff you might still not want to do, like, I don't know if buhbai plans to go for DBS, but some stuff like that skip there where you can skip that red bubble. It has basically the most major stuff in the run, in my opinion. Especially with a bigger skip later.
Yeah, there's not like too many like actual skips in the run. Generally, it's just getting from point A to point B, which is like the end of the screen, as fast as possible. But there's a lot of situations in Temple where there's like sequence break that you have to do that require tricks that like, unlike just going fast, there's not always going to be like backup methods for them. So sometimes these are tricks that you just have to grind out and learn to save the time.
Mm-hmm. There's Noxitu. Noxitu's making really good progress on Golden Ridge right now. Doing a lot of kind of more safe things, but making through with not too much casualty, which sometimes slow and steady is just a good way to play. Especially in a game like this where you can do so many things with all the different movement. Jeez. Dashing as the Seeker is kind of crazy. The Seeker part is actually really interesting because everything you just saw the Seeker do while you are playing as the Seeker, the Seeker's going to be doing that a few screens from now on buhbai's side, where the Seeker is actually going to be an enemy that is trying to hurt you. So it's a really kind of unique way to teach you about how an enemy works. And it's a very fast-moving section as well. Because the Seeker also has some more properties that Madeline does, like the ability to hit keys and stuff like that. So you're going to see a lot of movements like you just saw there to kind of manipulate the Seeker into hitting out-of-the-way keys for you, so you don't have to go as far out of the way.
Just barely not grabbing that coin. He was trying to stomp on his head and knock him into it. Even if the Seekers directly don't touch them, whenever you stomp on them, they respawn a moment later. And you'll see right there that little explosion that he has. Those also collect coins and break walls, like stuff like that. So that's always another safe way to manipulate them to grab stuff for you.
Yeah, and you usually don't see it in like a higher level run, but they do. I mean, in like and if you're watching a B side, you might see it because I think there's a strat there. But the explosion can also give you like a boost in whatever direction, kind of like, you know, how physics works.
That was insane from buhbai, that search skip.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest skips in the game. It saves, I hear a lot of different numbers, but it saves at least like a minute, probably. A minute and a half, maybe. It's a crazy big skip, and it's really actually not too hard, so it's definitely one of the ones that if you want to learn this game, you want to get that out of the way really quickly.
Yeah, just the way he did it. Generally, the way most people do it is not that hard, which is fortunate that way. Like, a lot of people can actually get that time save, and it's not like a run-killing trick or anything like that. You generally just want to stand in that pit and, like, do an extended dash jump so that you can get enough distance to the end. But he, like, flew into that area with a bunch of speed and then, like, corner boosted or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. We'll go back and look later.
There's some, I know there's some newer setup that involves, like, a bunny hopper on the corner or something. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But now we're gonna see Noxitu on the last screen of Golden Ridge, actually.
You're dropping Theo there from buhbai's side. Not too bad of a loss. Oh, Seeker almost catching up to him.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. There we go. Very good neutral jumps there. And actually, to respond to something in chat, Kororo, I believe either they found I don't remember which one it was. Either they found Search Skip, like, basically the day of release, or I think the devs actually knew about Search Skip. I'm not sure, but it was found really quickly, yeah. And that's Mirror Temple for buhbai as Noxitu enters it.
That was a really solid time for it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And now on to Reflection. Reflection is probably one of the craziest chapters in the game in terms of the amount of stuff in it. There's these feathers, there's going to be these weird crush blocks, there's going to be these bumpers, and there's going to be, like, just a lot of kind of crazy mechanics that let you go in a whole bunch of directions. And then there's also Lake Skip. That
went very quickly.
Yeah, that saves, like, 5 seconds, and it's very challenging, but buhbai nailing it, no problem. And that's not a strat I've seen in that room.
I have not seen that before either.
It's very cool though. A lot of cool stuff in Reflection.
You know, a lot of what makes this chapter's movement great is that objects that move Madeline around, like these crush blocks that you can stand on that go really fast, the speed of objects add to Madeline's momentum whenever you jump from them. It's like that hyper right there that was really fast.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't get the skip you usually want to get involving the hyper, where the block doesn't bonk into the little crumble rock, but you still saw the amount of speed. And now on these split paths where you can choose whether to go up or down in each screen. Really, I think with like one exception, basically every screen is unanimously decided. And Noxitu playing as a Seeker, so making good progress there. Very good progress on Mirror Temple. And we're seeing Top Room.
Yeah, buhbai actually goes up here. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think Top Room is actually a little faster if done optimally, and that was definitely very well done.
Yeah, that is the one room that Larry was talking about that isn't actually unanimous. Most of the others, it's like pretty set. Like, there's not really a way to make the alternative one faster. But that one, you can actually take one or the other. Oh, he's gonna have to stall to save himself here. Yeah,
But
there you
saves
go.
himself, so better than dying and having to go back through that room. And now we're getting into kind of the beginning of the story section, where we have to chase down Madeline by following her hair. And so there's a lot of tricky, longer screens in this section, like these gaps in the spikes that you can fall through. And then this swimming section, a lot of just crazy stuff. Meanwhile, Noxitu doing very well going through the unraveling section right now.
He's gonna go for a big boost with this momentum from this block here.
Watch buhbai right
Make it
now.
all the way through. Yeah, easy.
There we go. And that's... Oh no, and Noxitu took a bad death just before exiting that screen right there. But now buhbai's into the Madeline fight, where you have to go up to Madeline and poke her, I guess, I don't know, a few times, and you have to do that for a lot of screens here. Takes up a good portion of the level. But Madeline does actually give you your dash back when you hit her, so a lot of the times you're gonna see buhbai's gonna hit her, and then go back to ground as fast as possible using some sort of dash to instantly be able to do like some sort of hyper, or just something that's a lot faster than moving in the air. And Noxitu, very cool looking jump on a Seeker to get dash back to get through that screen, and is about to enter the Theo section.
Doesn't even need the feather there, just ultras past that whole gap.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Oh, going for another feather, that would have been crazy if he got that.
Yeah. And actually, did we ever even explain Theo? Because Noxitu's doing Theo now.
Oh, the Theo section? No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, buhbai kind of sped through it.
Yeah, well, we were talking about something else involving the game, but basically, with Theo, you can't dash while holding Theo, but if you throw him and then dash into him and pick him up, he'll kind of preserve your momentum and also kind of toy around with it a little bit. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but you can do it to get some boosts that are basically just as crazy, if not crazier, than your normal hypers and stuff.
So yeah, it can be very difficult to get used to that movement, but once you're really well practiced in Theo movement, it's basically like he isn't even slowing you down at all.
Yeah. You see Noxitu, my bad, Noxitu getting through it very quickly, already at this kind of halfway point in the section, as buhbai's headed on to the second to last screen of the battle and fight. very close to being finished with the whole chapter. And Noxitu having a little bit of trouble trying to do a hyper dash off of a moving block while picking up Theo, which does crazy stuff to your speed, but getting through the screen anyways, so... Ooh. And buhbai's done with the fight. Now buhbai has 2 dashes, meaning, hey, I feel like 2 dashes is a very understandable statement. Now you can dash twice in midair without needing to hit the ground. Or a crystal or something like that. Snowball, I don't know. And finishing chapter 6, headed on to the final level of the game, the summit.
Another part about it, anything that replenishes your dash before, now replenishes both your dashes as soon as you do it. So a crystal will give you both of them back, like this one right here. I can do it twice out of it.
Noxitu got Theo on a very awkward ledge, but fixes it. Fixes it and finishes the chapter. Headed on to Reflection now as buhbai is working through the base of the summit. And I guess speaking of when I mean the base, the summit's split into portions, and each portion is modeled after a different chapter. So we're about to launch into 500 meters, which is themed after the Forsaken City. Noxitu is working at the beginning feather section, and buhbai's going through 500.
Nice strat from buhbai there, actually taking care of that moving block early. Generally, whenever you grab Battle in there to throw you up, it's really difficult, but you can... oh, running out of his dash, he's gonna have to start over. You can raise that block before you actually get to her, and then you don't have to wait for it to get out of your way. But it's really difficult to land.
And meanwhile, Noxitu going smoothly through this first portion of Reflection. Soon to hit those split paths I mentioned earlier. And buhbai also can do these hyper dashes out of the dream blocks. You're usually able to just jump out of the dream blocks, but hyper dashing exists too. And it can kind of be crazy. And Noxitu actually going some bottom room strats that I haven't seen before. Very cool looking. Going down here as well. That room is called the Ultra Room right there, that buhbai just got through, and I really feel like it would make him feel at home because his Ultras are absolutely absurd. But making it to the end of 1500 as Noxitu is onto the last of the split path rooms, so doing very good. Unfortunate deaths on both ends, but especially a few on buhbai's end, but now buhbai's making it through. has to deal with more wind and more snowballs. Everybody's favorite. Jeez.
What was that? He even hit the snowball too.
Okay, I don't know anymore. This is auto-scroller skip. I do know this one. Very well done. This has to do... Okay, not even do a wall bounce. I'm a liar. Yeah. And Noxitu working very close to the battling fight, so... I'm excited to see how Noxitu will do that with the way they've been playing throughout this race. And it seems their progress at checkpoints in the chapter seems pretty synced, because as buhbai enters 2500, we have Noxitu doing the battle and boost into the fight. Getting pretty far with the boost, but not quite to the cutscene, but now into the fight.
Gonna go for another sort of difficult spike jump there. Yeah, it makes it easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Now
get
it's not really one of the more traditional spike jumps. It's a bit weird, but still doing nice on it.
Just barely not making it through the gap there. Get your second try, it's fine. And then, oh, trying to get door skip here, which is kind of similar. Trying to dash through this tight little gap. There it gets both of them. That can be pretty difficult to do.
And it saves like a second. A lot of people do it just as kind of a meme, though. Now entering 3000, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, Summit is kind of split into sections that are all kind of callbacks to different chapters, but 3000, this ending portion, is now kind of its own unique chapter, where you're going to have these big rooms with these checkpoint flags that count down from 30 until you're at the summit of the mountain. And it's also going to take the wind from chapter 4 and make it blow upwards and downwards, which will alter your gravity a little bit, so like how high you can dash or jump, and how quickly you fall.
Skipping that checkpoint there.
Yeah, you can skip some flags in the summit. It can be risky, obviously, but it can also be super cool. And sometimes it's fast, depending on where the flag is, which you'll see fairly soon.
Generally, when people are skipping checkpoints and runs, they're going to be confident in their strat on the next flag.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it'll give you a big time loss.
Absolutely. Like, for example, that's one that is sometimes skipped if you're quick enough to get off the platform on the corner. Not one you usually see skipped because you have to land on that platform, but I don't know if you're cool. I'm not 100% sure how the checkpoint flags actually work. Sometimes you hit them, sometimes you have to go a bit closer, sometimes you have to be on the platform for longer. I don't really know. But buhbai already at flag 11 right now, as Noxitu is soon to be exiting the fight onto very close to the last screen of battling. And so here's one of the ones that it's really quick to skip. You see flag 8 just over there in the corner. We're not going to grab it, just going to get 7 and continue dashing upwards.
This should be a pretty solid summit time for him, assuming there's no major choke at the end.
Yeah.
It looks like on pace for sub 9.
I never know with Summit, honestly. I always either overestimate. I always overestimate like the length of the last couple of flags. So yeah, making it to the final flag here.
Yeah, this should be
the
a
last
sub
flag
9
isn't too much.
Still going for
but
crazy flag
you have to
strats
be
at the very
careful.
end now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And making it through. That is a sub 9 summit. So now all we have left is just to have, as buhbai finishes up, we have Noxitu, who has to go through basically the entirety of summit, are only at the first few screens. So buhbai winning by a summit, basically.
Yeah, 31:42 within that's like 45 seconds from his PB, around there, which is a really solid like amount of consistency considering how aggressively he goes for strats.
Absolutely. And 23 deaths is a really good death count, especially for like a 31. And Noxitu cleaning up summit base, going to be heading to 500 next. Very good dashing right now from Noxitu, getting through each of these screens pretty well. And last screen here of 500. Really, really good summit so far from Noxitu. If their speedrun.com PB is up to date and they actually have a 4550, this might be PB pace.
Yeah, it really depends on the summit performance, so with a good summit it should be easily possible. But summit is so like long and there's a lot of difficult stuff in it that it really varies from player to player what times it can
You
get.
can lose several minutes on this stage.
Yeah, you never really know. So he's just gonna have to have a pretty good summit, and he should be good.
Summit is really just kind of a really brutal thing that can kill you right at the end. I'm gonna cite basically every one of my tourney races where I was over a minute ahead, entering summit and missed PB every time. Really good backup there from Noxitu, cheese. Losing dash, but being able to jump all the way over to the hidden berry to get dash back. And moving on to 1500 now. That's still crazy. That was so crazy. Alright, and this is one of the screens I'm worried about. A lot of people can have a lot of problems with this screen, and it's a very long screen, so if you die at any point, it's back to the beginning. Alright, Noxitu's good. Now just has another kind of big screen to worry about after this one. Come on. Ooh.
Holding on to that block actually raised him up into the Death Bunny. That was pretty unfortunate.
That's kind of unfortunate, yeah. Getting on the block the second time, getting through. Really good so far. This is a really good summit in general so far. Playing everything nice and smooth. You know, sometimes slow and steady is better than risky if you're not comfortable with it. And I feel like Noxitu is playing in a position where they're definitely very comfortable with how they're playing.
Yeah, going for like strats that you're comfortable with just to cut out like time loss from deaths
is definitely a valid option.
Yeah, it's a really good way to play because this game there's so much room to change what like strats you want to do. Absolutely. There's not very many situations where there's one thing that you have to learn how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
and
Just being able to do the things that you're comfortable with, and like not dying.
Yeah, like
It's gonna get you
Noxitu
really good
deciding
time.
to go over here to this path instead of the normal secret path that everybody else takes, but getting through the screens deathless and also pretty quickly, so it works out. Granted, a lot of people would not recommend taking those screens over the secret path, but I mean, hey, I guess Noxitu just likes doing that. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not expecting them to even go for this skip. Yeah, they're not gonna be going for it, it seems. Because it is very challenging, especially if you're newer to the game.
Yeah, it can cause a lot of trouble and requires that tight wall bounce there at the end.
Some people use a wall bounce. Some people can get enough height with just, or can get enough speed or height with just their extended. In fact, I think the wall bounce might even be a little harder. I'm not 100% sure. But oh, not getting dash back. The wind kind of messing with position and stuff. Oh, Swagberry. Alright, cool. Show off. Yeah, still very clean heading into the last screen here. Oh. One thing you can kind of see is trying to cancel when Battling throws you upwards by dashing before you get all the height from it to try and get through some of these things faster, like you see there. And you might also see for this. Okay, nope, just taking that height and heading on to 2500. Alright. Very nice. Looks like very smooth, really. Like, there we go.
Yeah, nice wave dashes off those blocks.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good strat for that room.
And then taking the deck here to the key skip. Looks like doing a setup to try and climb to set up height. Not one I usually see, but...
Yeah, the jump timings can be precise, so putting yourself back in the
people
same position you're used to is gonna make it more consistent, I feel like.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, getting
good thing to do.
getting it eventually.
I do the jump and pray method where I just kind of jump and hope my height's good. Because I don't have a good way to do it too consistently, but getting through. Noxitu getting over to this screen here. Very nicely done. And the door skip screen, honestly, wouldn't be too... Okay. I was going to say, honestly, wouldn't be too surprised if he didn't go for door skip, but gets it first try, so what do I know? Alright, Noxitu on to the last screen before 3000.
Cutting it close there, but barely recovered in time.
Noxitu's been cutting it close a lot this run. It's been crazy.
But this is definitely PB pace entering 3000.
Yeah. 3000 in a lot of cases does not take 5.5 minutes. So he definitely has quite a bit of time to get the PB. Doing very good dashes. A lot of diagonal upwards, I'm noticing. Skipping that checkpoint. I don't know, I feel like a lot of things, like doing a lot of height upwards dashes to kind of be safe, but at the same time skipping checkpoints. Like, kind of interested to see what Noxitu's thinking when it comes to the strats that they are doing. Getting out of the downdraft section, very nice. I think the downdraft is probably the most stressful because I mean, not the hardest, but like definitely one of the more stressful ones because it's the one where you can very quickly be sent into a spike pit and back to your last checkpoint. But in terms of like level layout, it's not too bad because a lot of the screens are closer together and not as grand as some of these updraft screens here.
It really varies from player to player which type of like updraft or downdraft that they like playing in more. A lot of people actually like the downdraft more just because it plays very quickly. They like the way Madeline moves, and that.
I always feel like I'm way too close to the spikes whenever I'm in downdraft, personally.
Yeah, it can be hard to do. But like for example, people like me that don't like the updraft section, it's because it plays so slow and floaty that deaths on those flags end up taking a long time to recover from. Like a lot of these flags are very, very long compared to the downdraft ones.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's also a design thing too. Like these flags were designed to be longer in distance. You can just be like me and hate all of Summit. That also seems to work. Noxitu having problems with flag 9 here, which is... This one is very annoying. A lot of kind of specific dashes and small gaps to get through spikes, but getting through them, skipping checkpoint 8, making it to 7, very well done. And headed into that final 5 now. Working on checkpoint 4. Ooh, taking a bad death to some accidental diagonals, but... Oh, jeez. Flag 4 is a mean one. Alright. Doing a very good job there to get to the feathers. And on to checkpoint 2, so very nearly done.
This should be a PB by like over a minute. Like a minute and a half.
Should be, yeah.
You played pretty well for Summit.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting up the mountain, finishing, that looks like 44-23.
Yeah.
Yep. GG. Very good from both racers. That was a great race. And I think it's maybe verified as a PB. Oh, I thought Noxitu was... Okay, yeah, here we are. Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to be going back to the title screen to verify the version. Yeah, there we are. 1, 2, 3, 2. That's... Congrats. Oh, and he was on keyboard the whole time. I tried playing on keyboard earlier because I was too lazy to fix my controller problem, and I do not understand how people do it.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that he was a keyboard runner. But yeah, the fact that he's showing the title screen, that probably signifies that it was a PB.
Mm-hmm. So GG's to buhbai and Noxitu on a very good race. Definitely would recommend checking out their own streams because neither of them are done. So I assume they're not only going to have more matches, but going to have more practice time for their matches. Also, if you want, you can check out commentator streams. It's totally optional, same, don't worry about it. Totally don't feel weird saying that every single time. Don't worry about it. If you want to, you can do that if you enjoyed the commentary, but I definitely hope you enjoyed the race, because I know I did. That was a really good watch. But do you have anything else to say, Flair?
Not really. It was fun watching. I'm glad I showed up for it.
Alright, well, before we take off, I might as well just give a heads up that the next race is going to be in 8 minutes on Speed Gaming 3 between Tademos and Robin94, so that's definitely something you want to get and check out. And then there's also another race, including buhbai versus Link40 at 8 p.m., so in just about 4 hours on Speed Gaming 4, so there's more Celeste for the rest of your day. So do not worry about a drought of Celeste content. You can also, if you're worried about any time of day, you can do !Celeste in the chat to see the schedule. And yeah, that's just about it for me at least, and I believe Flair as well. So thanks for having us. Thanks for watching today, and hope to see you in future races.
See you guys later.